Hi guys, this is Badger from the UK. Some of you have reached out and asked me how I've got Easyscriber set up on my machine. If you open up any one of your search engines, put in Draw for Inkscape. At the top you'll have Evil Mad Scientist. Click on there, and on the left hand side choose whichever operating system you've got, Linux, Windows or Mac. Follow the instructions on screen and install it onto your machine. Open up Inkscape and you should have it in your extensions, Draw utilities with your hatch fill. So we select some letters. Just move that across. Go up, convert that to a path. And what we can do, we've got the whole thing, we've got our bounding box around the whole thing. It's still one complete thing, not broken apart. So we can go up to the extension, go down to hatch fill, and we can choose the hatch spacing between the lines. We can choose the degrees that we have the engraving at. What you really need to do is have connect nearby ends checked. If you don't, your engraving could take hours to finish. Sometimes I think I've had some of them going for about 3.5 hours, and that's with connect nearby ends. So let's click apply. So you get your lines as you can see them up on the screen, a little bit bigger. You can go in there and you can edit those lines if you want to change them at all. So we go back, we click on undo, go back up to extension. Oh, sorry, click on the selection tool, click on the whole lot, click on extension, hatch fill. Now that was just giving us one line. We can go over across to cross hatch. We click apply and it'll give us the crisscross fashion, which is easy enough to do. Go back again. We'll make that a little bit smaller. Now, what some people will find if they're still playing around with Inkscape, if you come up and you actually click on break apart, yes, it will break apart all the letters. Click off of it. It will break apart all the letters. When you've got a letter with another shape inside, let's select it now. You go up to extensions, go to hatch fill. A lot of people will get thrown by this, and it will fill the whole lot in the center. And then you start wondering, you'll go round and round in a circle. It's easy enough to get out from. Select the center first, hold down the shift key, select the outside so you've got both pieces. Come up to path, come down to combine. Once you've got them combined, click on your hatch fill. It's not shaded in. Okay guys, right. I now need to go down to the workshop and set up the next bit for you. So 1 second. Okay guys, this is the next stage in setting up your Easyscriber. Right, let's open Sheet Cam. Okay, there are probably other ways that you can set these tools up, but this is the way I've got it set up on my machine. It works, so if it works for me, it should work for you guys as well. So if you come up for tools, and I go down to new jet cutting tool, and in the name box, we don't want that. We are going to call it Easyscriber. Okay, I leave the next box as plasma. It automatically numbers your tool. Leave the path rules as none. Feed rate is the only one that I'm interested in, and I leave that at 200 inches a minute on there. If I want to change it, I can change it up to about 240, because some of my engravings take about 3.5 hours, so if I can save a bit of time, it's always helpful. PSD layer is nothing because we're not using any part of the plasma. So you'll come down and click on OK. You close that. Let's bring a file in. Import a drawing. Let's go down to Volvo. Some of my drawings have got so many lines in, it makes the sheet cam as well as the Command CNC program run a little bit slower, but you just have to bear with it. We will upgrade our PC very shortly. I'll be chatting with Matt Crescenzo about that. If you are in the market for a CNC machine, you will not go far wrong with a Starlab machine. It's absolutely fantastic. I imported mine from Minnesota. I spoke to Matt at some length and I've not had a day's trouble in 3 years with it. So it's certainly well worth the investment, guys. So we brought in our piece of art, whatever we want to engrave. It could be a sign and it might just have a few words on there, nothing as complex as this. So my work does make the machine struggle a little bit, so she does need a bit of an upgrade. Okay, now if we come across and we look at our jet cutting box, sheet cam automatically gives it different layers for what it thinks we're going to be cutting it as. We're not going to be doing any of that. We go up and we click on edit contours. Okay, so that box is greyed out up there. Hopefully you'll pick it up on this camera. Hold our left mouse button down and select the box around the entire area that we want to engrave. That whole thing is now turned white and we want to put that on a new layer all by itself. So we click right hand mouse, move to new layer, and we call that engrave. Okay. As I say, it takes a little while with my machine to actually catch up, so I just wait for it. Now if we bring our pointer across, as you'll see on the outside of that machine around the pulverizer, it changes colour as we get closer. Get the pointer on the line, right click, move to new layer, and we call that plasma cut outside. Okay, so we come across again. Now we can actually set the machine up. With the contour method, we're not having any offset. We click on our engrave, which we set up just now. In the tooling box, we scroll all the way down and we pick up where we've named it. This will be the last tool in your list, and it's Easyscriber. Feed rate is at 200 inches a minute. As I say, I can uprate mine to 240. Down here you'll have no lead in. You don't want anything on there when you're engraving. So click OK on that. Let it run its course. So we now want to do our plasma cut to take it out. So we want an outside offset. The layer will be plasma cut outside, or whatever you wanted to name it. Generally I work with 14 gauge aluminium, which is roughly about 2 mil, roughly in the UK. I come up and I will select fine cut on 14 gauge steel. Give it a lead in. Click on OK. Don't worry about any little warning lights or markers that come up here. It's to do with my artwork, it won't be with yours. So we run post processor, gives the name up there of what we want to save it as. I don't need to save it because it's already in the machine. So we can close that bit down. You obviously will be saving it. I run Command CNC, a Linux system with Starlabs, so you may have a different setup for your CNC table, but hopefully this will help you out. Okay. Wait for the machine to catch up with me. Okay, there we go. You can zoom in on it. You've got all of the detail there. Nothing left out, which is what we want. Now with Command CNC, I go over to the manual box and I click on skip touch-offs. Because we're not using ohmic sensing, we don't want machine looking for a signal. So I'll come across here, turn the DTHC to manual, turn that off and disable the torch. Also make sure your torch is turned off if you've got a power supply running to it. Turn it off at the mains. Don't forget to home your table, X and Y. If you have any problems, it's a lot easier to start from a line if the table's been homed. Otherwise it can get itself lost very easily. Now if I just pause there for a second, I will then show you the setup of the Easyscriber in the torch itself.
Hey boss, I'm going to good. Yeah.
Gentlemen, Ciccolini here may talk like an idiot and look like an idiot, but don't let that fool you. He really is an idiot.
Righto guys, right, height. I have the Hypertherm torch on my machine. I have the 45 XP. Take off the consumable stack from the end of your torch, put it to one side, get your Easyscriber. If you feel like you need a bit more tension on it, you can wind in the little grub screw on the end. That gives you a little bit more tension, a little bit more on the spring. But it's pretty tough as it is. So that's all it is. Just wind it up inside the end of your torch. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then when you go back to your operating window, bring the torch down. So it's just, if I can try and move the torch on here as well. Camera. We just bring that down and you compress it roughly half of its travel. You don't want any more than half of its travel, and then you'll go back to your window and you will zero the Z axis. So once it's zeroed, you can then bring that back up. Got to wait for my program to catch up. Always make sure that you raise your torch after you've zeroed your Z axis or Z axis, because if you leave it half compressed and you start the program to run, it can run right across your workpiece and put a deep engraving straight across, and you've got to start afresh. It's not good. So hopefully that's helped a lot of you guys out. It's not such a dark art. It's not too easy to get to understand. If you've got any questions, give us a shout. I'm learning how to use YouTube. I'm learning how to use these damn cameras as well. So it's a learning curve for me. If you like what you see, give us a subscribe. It'd be nice if we can build a channel. And if you've got any other questions, just send me a PM, send me a message on the Starlab forum if you've got a Starlab table. And if you haven't, get in contact with Macrosenso, because he'll hook you up with one of the best tables you can get hold of. And I think there's only about 1, 2, maybe 3 tables in the UK, but they are well worth the investment, and it's better than anything you'll get over here. So have fun guys, and speak to you soon.